Hello, this is Lisa Russick
And Donna Murphy.
with the podcast We Are All Psychic, and we are just jumping in. Donna, we talked a little bit, and then we talked a little bit more about the topic, and she just dove right in. But first, Donna, do you still think we're all psychic?
I absolutely do think we're all psychic.
She does, and I do too. And we love having Donna back, don't we, listeners and watchers? This is a video on Spotify and YouTube. So we dove into the topic, and she's in there going, going, going. I'm like, wait, you're getting all the good stuff out. Let me record, let me record. So she's here. So what are we talking about, Donna? We want to tell them.
Yeah, we got Lisa mentioned that she'd been thinking about the difference between energetic feeling and, other types, emotional feeling, physical feeling. And so that got me thinking, and we got to talking as we
Yes,
often do.
guys.
And so I think there's a lot of overlap. I think a lot of it is just different vibrations. And then there's going to be the overlap because one then can trigger the other ones.
Right, right.
Whatever the origin, then that can start triggering the other ones. So the first example that Lisa brought up was, for example, like you could be in like a crowded room or something, or you're out in public, but you feel someone looking at you. Now, essentially at that point, it's there's an energy.
That right there is an energetic feeling. If you don't know
Yeah.
what one is and you've ever had that happen, I would call that an energetic feeling. What else could
Absolutely.
that? You know?
Absolutely.
Really?
And they're actually the generator, so the other person, now, are they looking at you with desire? Are they looking at you with curiosity?
Kind of emotional feelings.
Right. In other words, they're looking at you for typically, I mean, if it's a fixed thing, not just a glance.
Yeah.
So they're looking at you for some reason.
Yes.
And then they're generating something that, again, that vibration is there, and you pick up on it and you're like, oh, you get that, again, you get that feeling, and you start looking around
why they're looking, even before you know who it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So true.
But then that's going to engender then some feelings for you.
Yeah.
You might feel flattered.
Yeah.
You might feel a little awkward.
Yeah.
You might be curious, that person, maybe somebody, if it's a stranger, you might go, a fascinating stranger, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think all of them can kind of interplay with each other.
I think you're right.
And then the exploration starts. Now that might be something where nothing more happens between you and that other person. On the other hand, it might cause you or them to start a conversation.
Right.
Or whatever. So then there's all kinds of things.
Usually there's a little like few moments dance, like moment we're gonna think of where you're both kind of like sizing each other up. Are we gonna do? And there's like yeah. But there's that split second moment, and that's an energetic experience, I would say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a feeling, but it's an experience where you're both kind of energetically sizing each other up. Like, will you mess my head up? Or do I like that? Or, some people like the complicated people who will kind of play with you. Some people want to be played with, like they want the complicated person who's going to make them really work for it, or, so what I'm talking about? It's like all what attracts you, who knows? But that split second, that moment when you're looking at each other and if it's an attraction type situation, that in that moment. And if it's going to be a friend or someone you would take into your friend circle, you kind of know that right away too, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. And again, the curiosity that gets sparked, all of that becomes then a whole experience, whether it stays just a momentary one or whether it begins to evolve then into a series of experiences. It still is always that thing of, that connection. And then what that turns out to be, if it turns out to be something more than what you shared in that, few moments, or if it's something then that again begins to evolve.
Right.
And you strike up a conversation or they strike up a conversation or, whatever it might be. And then our emotions definitely are going to come into play. And then a certain amount of physicality also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will. And for me, the physical, like your heart rate picking up or something, or if you don't like them,
Mhm.
maybe, you sweat a little bit because you're scared or not uncomfortable, you'll sweat, or something. Or if you really like them, maybe you'll get a little,
Maybe you, you get the vapors.
yeah.
You get a case of the vapors.
You'll have those, or yeah, or like if you don't know, you can
Yeah,
close up and kind of close up a
yeah,
little, or whatever, who I don't know about you,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Because you're going to wait. You're
Yeah, and your body
getting
will
like,
close up
yeah,
physically, like, and your emotional and your energy will close up too, don't you think? Your energy
absolutely,
field will kind of like,
absolutely. Because yeah, you're going to withhold to a certain degree until you have more information.
yes,
However, that information comes in.
and something else we can talk about while we're discussing this is people who know they're doing it. You know what I mean? Like those energy.
Yes.
Lots of people who know that maybe they don't think of it as energy, but the guy at the bar staring down the woman, just like waiting till she looks at him,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then he waits for that moment. And does he get it? No. Okay, next girl, yeah.
And then he just zeroes in on somebody else. Oh
Yeah, and then he
gosh.
sends a little energy, like
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
hair.
It's like a little feeler going out, right? Like a little tentacle going out to
Yes,
see
that's what I
what,
always think of it as a
Yeah.
tentacle. Yeah, like a little energy tentacle, feeling out this area.
So yeah, I mean, I think the whole thing is really fascinating. And I mean, as far as how we interact, how we choose to interact, to what degree, how frequently, um, all of that is a discovery process.
Yeah,
But I think it all starts, I really think it does start on an energetic level because kind of where else would it come from? I mean,
yeah,
again, it may come through physically, like we glance at somebody and we think, wow, they're attractive, or wow,
yeah.
what an interesting person, or even, hey, nice shirt. I mean, whatever it is. We know, something causes us to take notice.
Yes,
I mean, special notice other than just the general atmosphere.
something to say.
And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. And often when we're in a group of people or whatever, we'll notice a lot of people, but just very much like in passing, like they sort of register really briefly and then they don't, right? We're taking in all the information.
yeah,
They're all giving off a certain kind of energy, whether it's conscious or not.
yeah.
And again, it's more than just their appearance or what they happen to be doing at the time. They might be walking along, they might be eating a snack, they might be drinking a coffee, whatever it is. But they've got an energy field that at
Yes,
least briefly we pick up, right? It's like antenna, right? And we do pick it up.
yes, and that's kind of what catches the someone looking at you feeling the antenna, kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
energetic antenna. And I think
Yeah. It's
when we that awkward moment when we see someone's trying to get our attention that way, and they're
yeah.
maybe not thinking of it as energy, but people like us would say no. It's always no one's thinking of it as energy. We're trying to tell you, listeners, that it is. If you
Yeah.
didn't know,
Yeah. Yes.
didn't figure that out. But like this example. I always think of people in airports because there's always weird interactions in airports. Have you noticed that?
True.
And I haven't been to that many, and I haven't been to one forever. But well, there used to be a lot more because when I'm thinking of before 9/11 flying,
Yeah.
it was very different because you'd have everybody in the airport, family saying
Yeah,
goodbye,
because families could go right to the gate and wait with the
goodbye,
person. Yeah.
leave. Yeah,
And they could come right to the gate to meet you if they,
yeah. And a lot of
now
times
it's very,
people
yeah.
are nervous and they're at the bar at the airport, and I think of like
Yeah.
there's meeting at the bar at the airport at the 6 hour layover that takes 15 hours, and stuff like that. And you can go into that bar and find the person that you could probably get along with that you could sit there for 10 hours with and talk to, right?
And have sort of
Yeah.
a mini relationship
A mini
for that
relationship.
span of
Yes.
time. No, really. And again, do those connections matter? To me, yeah, they do.
I think so too.
The fact that it might be finite or the fact that it might be a one-off doesn't
Yeah.
make it less valuable. It
Yeah.
doesn't make it less pleasant. It
What's
just
pulling you to sit with this total stranger for that long and
right.
chat about it? It's so interesting to me. Like, what else could it be except and attraction, but let's say you're both married and you have kids, whatever, you're both women or you're not that sexually attracted to each other. You just have you just have an energetic attraction. We got the situation we're in. We got
Exactly,
some kind of way to
exactly.
get
And
through it
it's not,
together.
yeah. And it is, and again, to me, attraction and repulsion are not necessarily tied to a romantic or a sexual
Yeah,
feeling.
you're right. You're definitely
Um,
right.
I mean, that's how friendships form that
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
right? Because there's attraction just without
Mental
sexual
and
desire.
emotional and
Yeah,
mental attraction.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I love that. Oh, Donna, by the way, I think you're just beautiful.
And I think you're lovely.
See, I'm flirting with her. That is an energetic. I would say that's energetic
Yeah,
flirting.
that's definitely energy.
Could be stimulatingly in the intellectuals area. It could be like I don't think of having mental or thought feelings. You know what I mean? Like a thought energy. Energy and thoughts just don't seem to work together, right? Unless you're forming, you're trying to like focus your energy. A thought can help. Thoughts can kind of help if you're training your energy or focusing your energy or
Yeah,
recognizing
although
what.
we're also, I think, at some point we're also processors.
Yes, yes.
So at some point, our mental part is probably going to kick in because we're going to want to process what's happening.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever. I mean,
It's a weird feeling,
it
isn't
might
it?
be out of the mix a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be the initial place that things get started, but I think it comes into the picture at some point because we're
Especially,
going to want to yeah,
especially if we're thinking about our perception and someone else's perception at the same
yeah,
time comparing them.
yeah,
I find that's a good time for that, to like really. I think that's when we get to know ourselves more when we
yeah.
compare what they say their impression. And that's another thing that is interesting when people talk and we all have
Mhm.
different connotations for our words. Now we've talked about that a lot on this podcast, right, Donna?
Yes.
We talked about that. And when you're in a good vibe with someone, you don't misunderstand each other's context or there's no arguments over semantics and stuff. You
Right.
get
You typically you're getting each other.
getting
It's like you're getting each other. The language is a good match.
yes.
And so you're
Yeah.
not questioning meaning.
Yeah, and no one's trying to be difficult either, because some people do that.
Right. Right. Some people enjoy doing that
Yeah,
or feel like they need to do that to go through whatever their
the energy.
process happens to be. Exactly.
I
You
always
know
think.
what? I should probably turn the light on because I notice
You
I'm
think so?
getting
Yeah,
very
look at it.
stripy.
Listeners, we're gonna be right back. You'll see, it's
Yeah,
magic.
I'm getting stripy.
Hey, listeners and watchers, we are back, and see, I told you it was magic. Just like that, it looks
Yeah.
different for you.
So the thing is, though, too, and this is something else that I've been giving a lot of thought to, speaking of thoughts, is how much what we think affects how we feel. It might not create a feeling. It
Yeah,
might not create a feeling, although it could.
I think you can. I definitely think a thought can cause a feeling. I don't know about an energetic experience. Yeah, probably they can. If you get into your imagination, though, you know?
Right, because you have an intention then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're thinking about something. And
Yeah.
again, let's go back to the stranger across the room, right?
Yeah.
Something, okay, so we have a physical cue, okay, so like a visual,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe we heard them laugh or speak and that caught our attention.
Yeah.
So that's happening on a physical level. Then we've noticed them, right? And then if we are intrigued or interested or whatever it is, and we're focused, then again our thought, we have an intention. Now we want to know more about we may not have an intention like we want to take them to bed or we want to marry them and have their babies,
I'll talk to
but we
that.
do know something. We want more information.
Yeah. That's true. And that's an energetic
And
sense.
then that generates energy, and then
Yeah.
that would cause our behavior then to adapt or to conform with our intention.
So do you think like what you're saying makes me wonder if we desire something, is that an energetic thing to desire something, or is it an
I
emotion?
really believe it is. I mean, for me, I believe it
I just
is.
never thought of it. And to me, I think it would
Yeah.
be too an energetic wanting something is my
Yeah.
soul desire or the essence of me wants that,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
spiritual, and that would be the energy, if you want to put them together. So yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
because I think that starts again, and then that starts a process. Typically, it's going to start the process of, okay, I want something, and then usually what comes from that is, how, when, why, where, do I obtain
yeah.
it, right?
Start
How do
making
I
your
sat
magician plans. Yeah.
Yeah, how do I satisfy
Yeah.
or obtain, what it is that I want?
Yeah.
So that, and then I think we start getting into the whole thing of like how we manifest, how we
Mm,
manifest what's in our life,
yeah.
because that's definitely an energetic thing
Yeah,
that
because
we're
that makes total sense. They do go together that way. If you want
yeah,
it, you manifest it. So it's all in
yeah.
the intentions and in the energy. That's really
And
cool.
actually, if you think about it, I mean, we don't think about it because of the amount of energy typically that we need to expend. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, like you want a chocolate milkshake. Well, I mean, so your first thought is, do you have the stuff in your house to make yourself a chocolate milkshake? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But maybe you need to go out and get your chocolate milkshake from your favorite place, right? All of that is about intention, followed by intention, which create, intention, well, desire, intention, and then action to get what you want. Now, that's a very prosaic, very mundane kind of thing,
It's delicious
typically.
though.
I mean, assuming you've got a few bucks and a way to get to your favorite place easily,
Yeah.
you're going to go get your chocolate milkshake. And then, boom, hooray, hurrah, you just manifested your chocolate milkshake, right?
Yes. I
And so,
love that.
and somebody at your favorite, place, your favorite ice cream place or whatever, was working behind the counter that day, could take your order, make your milkshake, take your money, whatever. But all of that, really, you're actually manifesting all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
Yeah.
taking energy, the energy of a desire, a thought, a whatever it is, and manifesting, making it happen.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, that's why I was saying the magician. I always like to talk about the magician card in the tarot.
Mm-hmm.
He's about,
Mm-hmm.
using the tarot, using him, his ideas, your thoughts, your emotions, your physicalities, and your energy. The
Yeah,
wand.
because he has all
Oh,
his
yeah.
tools.
Yeah. I always think the wand.
He has all his tools. He has the physical
uh,
tool, which is the coin,
Yeah.
right? He's got a
Yeah.
physical tool. He's got the cup, which is the emotional tool. He's
Yes.
got his wand, which is the fire,
Yeah. I was
right?
thinking energy work. I really do.
Yeah.
Really, and
Yeah.
so like motivation, kind of
Yeah.
drive and stuff. Yeah.
So really, when you think about it, we're kind of always engaging on those multiple levels.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes seamlessly and very quickly.
Yes. Oh,
It all can happen
there's like
really
no time
fast. So
involved or something.
right, right.
That's interesting that
So
you said that because I didn't even think about that, but you're right. It's just so fast, especially when you work with
yeah,
the energy a lot, listeners. If you have
yes.
it just gets to be, especially if you like divination, like we do. We both like doing
Hmm.
divination, listeners. So when we do cards, that's like doing cards or reading for someone and predicting. With but we both kind of have the same thoughts on predictive readings.
Yeah,
We don't know if it's going to happen, but most likely at this point in time, this is where it looks like it's going. Right? Is that kind of how
right.
you approach it? Yeah.
Yes.
And I love to do that, and kind of figure it out and see how it's going to turn. Um, and that's what the magician card's about. Well, it's going to turn out this way, so why don't we see what we can do to make it turn out differently?
Right. If we want it to
The
be
other cards
different, if we
asking,
don't like the way, right, if we don't like the direction it's going,
yeah,
or if we really like the direction it's going,
but don't do this.
what supports that process? What
Yes,
either, what makes it easier, faster, more whatever, more efficient, whatever it might
yeah.
be. But
I just had a thought. What do you think? Like having like I had an understanding, like actually understanding something. When you get to the point where you understand something, what do you
mhm.
think? like, do you think that is what is that? What is understanding? That's where you get into consciousness, and I guess going a little farther than just an energetic experience. But what would that be? I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
I think so, because I think once you understand something,
Like at that moment of understanding, something happens, and it's timeless, like what we were talking about in the moment when we're doing a reading. It's kind of like when that information comes dropping in, like
yeah,
clairvoyance, and it's just there is no time to it. You just know it. It's like there never was a time you didn't know it, almost, you know. And
right.
I,
There's like no, yeah, there isn't like a I didn't know and now I do.
yeah, exactly. Is that
It's
weird?
like once you
Yeah.
do, then I think it becomes completely, I don't know, internalized, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it. You brought it into the light, into
Yeah,
being.
yeah. Or now it has a be like now it's a being of its own,
Yeah, it's been
or
recognized.
now it has a reality of its own by being
Yeah,
recognized.
yeah, yeah.
And intuition, because that was the other thing. How is what happens intuitively different? Because at
True.
that point you don't have, as a rule, external stimuli. You might, but you probably won't.
Right, right, right.
So the way that comes in like on a different channel.
It does, yes. It is weird, and clairaudience. If you get that one, it's just I
Yeah,
definitely have been hearing things or noticing that I've been hearing things.
yeah,
I've been trying to pay more attention. I ask my guides to help me pay more attention to what I'm not paying attention to. I hear
hmm
stuff a lot
yeah,
that's there, and it's nothing really big. It's just like a little tap, tap, tap in the corner of the room by the wall or something, and it's nothing. You know,
hmm
absolutely nothing. It's probably a spirit just kind of going boop, boop, boop.
yeah. It's like,
You
hi,
know,
Lisa. It's going,
yeah,
hi, Lisa.
it's usually not a voice though. It's usually like like
Yeah,
a weird sound, or sometimes I hear like
yeah,
loud crashing sound in the other room, and I'll go in
yeah,
there. Nothing happened, and I'll think it's cats, but the cats are in here, and I was like, "Oh, whatever." But I was
yeah.
like, "That's not normal. What was that now?" And I can't figure it out. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
That's definitely on the territory of energy work, I would think, or like you started talking about earlier, frequencies. This
yeah.
is right out of our frequency, and my frequency range of understanding, or there's understanding,
Mhm.
but conceiving what this is, because I can't see it or hear it with
Mhm.
or Claire see it, clairvoyance.
Yes.
I can't experience it that way either. Maybe that's what the some of those things are. The only way they can be experienced is this one narrow way through clairaudience. And but like whenever I get those impressions and I hear something strange like that, now that I'm working with it and paying attention to it more,
Mhm.
there's a feeling, an emotional feeling with those kind.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What
Yes.
do you think that is? Because I never know that
Um,
to me, so I'm thinking about this stuff
well,
for the first time.
well, I think it's another way to process
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Um, because at some point things I don't want to say things are there for a reason. I don't know if it's quite that linear,
Yeah.
but things that come into our consciousness want to be there.
Yes.
And I think, especially because I've actually been looking into this more and more, trying to learn more and more about it. The idea of consciousness not being local. I mean, it is for us in our human bodies because it almost has to be. Um,
Yeah.
because otherwise, but I think it's not so much that I think we filter down
I think we have to.
because otherwise
Yeah.
it would be overwhelming. And I do think
We're
that for
thrown
all
into
intents,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. I just get grown
And
up
we wouldn't
that
even be,
way.
I don't even know that we would be able to function
That's what I was
because,
thinking first.
yeah,
Yeah. We would just shut down with all that
yeah,
information. But if
yeah, you'd overload and your circuits would blow,
yeah, that's what
basically.
it feels like. If someone took me at 18 and gave me the information that I have now about psychic stuff, some
Yeah,
of psychic stuff,
yeah,
intuition, all the weird,
yeah.
the weird stuff in the world of mysteries. If anyone had told me I would have experienced half of the things I have with the mysteries, I would have been like, those aren't real. That can't happen. That's impossible. But it's not,
Yeah.
there are miracles every day. I mean, everywhere you
Yeah.
go, there's something beautiful happening or something tragic happening. Someone one time, I can't remember who said this to me. Maybe it was in a fortune. Oh, it was in a fortune cookie. This was a fortune cookie, Donna. It said to people who think life is a comedy, to people who feel life is a tragedy. That's a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
I
And you know
love
what?
that line.
It's very wise. It
It is
really
very
is.
nice.
It's
It
very
is. And it
wise.
made me not want to feel so much because, the tarot stuff tells us not to think. So, like, it tells us the problem a lot of the time.
Yeah.
The thoughts can be, perceptions can be, without anything to back them up, you know.
Right. Although I think sometimes comedy is a blessing. I mean,
It is.
you know,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I'm not, yeah, I mean, I'm not, I mean, even though I'm not a fortune cookie, not as wise as the fortune cookie. I mean, to me, it's like a lot of times I just look and go, okay, you can either laugh or cry. So it's really a choice. I
It is
mean,
a choice.
if
Yeah.
I use my, yeah, if I use my head, I'll laugh it off, because, life can be absurd.
Yeah.
And if not, and I need to shed a tear because I think it's whatever, sad or whatever. It's like, well, okay, that sometimes I need to do that too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the whole idea that we are actually again part of a non-localized, non-local consciousness, and we really are a part of everything that's going on in the universe or even multiple universes
Yes.
is kind of it certainly it's overwhelming. And we kind of again, because we're in the limits of a physical body, all that. I mean, I think we sort of have again, we have to kind of really narrow things
It's
down. It's like, okay,
conceptualize any of
I
this
have to
stuff.
pick a lane. I have to pick a lane, basically. It's like I
Yeah,
need to
to
pick a lane.
conceptualize it for to begin with.
Yeah.
I remember thinking when I was early on talking with Sam as my spirit guide and my cousin's spirit, he had died when I was 17, and he was helping me with learning what was going on. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
having these spiritual experiences. But they would tell me that um yeah, I had to be learned just a little at a time was something that Sam
Yeah.
Hyde was very, very big on. Slow. And I didn't want to go. I didn't know why he wanted to teach me this stuff. I didn't know it was energy work. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know I was an empath. I didn't
Yeah.
know this stuff. I just knew this thing, is human being in spirit form or whatever it is talking to me a lot. And I love him.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
tells me great things about everything and he teaches me stuff and concepts. And, I mean, is really teaching me a lot of stuff, metaphysical, spiritual things that
Yes.
I don't have any idea about. And like, just if someone had taken me, let's say like it's 24 when Sam first came into my life as a character for a book. And I was kind of like thinking about the character, and then it turned into thinking about me talking to him all the time instead of the characters all interacting. And then,
Hmm.
wait, what's going on? So all of that for me brought up all these emotions that I had to deal with, all these
Yeah.
thoughts that I had to train through myself. And he helped me train my thoughts. My guides did
Yeah.
get me out of that. Because I used to be a very negative thinker, very depressed all the time, and very confused all the time about what the hell is going on. As you can imagine, not knowing what all this was, all my
Oh
life.
yeah.
And I had no idea and no one to talk to about it because they didn't
Yeah.
none of us did in the South or anywhere. There's just no one to talk to about that there, and
Yeah, and that doesn't only happen, regionally. I mean, that
oh,
can
it does.
happen pretty much anywhere.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've learned that on the
Yeah.
podcast. That's
Yeah.
everywhere. It's
Yeah.
me. Yeah, like some of the people on who have been guests, listeners, you might know. And Donna, you've been on a little like
Hmm.
listener guests. So many of them have been raised either way, learning themselves on their own, or they have a family that said it was okay and they
Yeah.
get around it. It's both ways. It's very interesting, I think,
But when they had to learn on their own, then it's really it's
I have
a
negative.
different kind of connection or seeking
Yeah.
because it isn't immediately available in their near circle.
And it's also kind of interesting with the people I've spoken with on the podcast and off the podcast who work in the field, the psychic field, or as in some capacity and as a healer. I would say most of them who had families that were very into this and really like knew what it was and worked with it themselves. When I talk to these healers, their families, they tell me their families are crazy, and like they have like 800 sisters and brothers. It's just like things that you don't expect, from
Yeah, yeah,
the great healers, to perform miracles. But yeah, they do. They have 800 kids sometimes. They definitely did in the Bible, didn't they?
yeah, yeah. There was a lot of procreating going on. But no, and that's the thing, because all of us, I think, come to a point where I think it's really interesting, because I think we start from the whole, right?
Yeah.
We do get differentiated when we get born into a physical human
Yes.
body.
Yes.
Okay, now we're separated from the whole. And then
Yeah.
we spend and then we spend our time reconnecting to and learning about the whole again, and getting back to the idea that we are,
We can.
again, that we're
Yes.
that we're part of the whole. But I feel like if you were just pure consciousness and you didn't do this,
Yeah.
come into a physical human body. I mean, I can't speak to that experience because I don't know what that would be like. I can only imagine what that might be
Me too. And
like.
I love imagining it. So I'm right there with you.
But again, we would be pure consciousness, and I'm not sure what that would look or feel like.
So what do you
Except
think
I'm
that
thinking it would be, yeah. I mean, I just know it would be very different without having come through this way, without having come through the cycle.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I see
Like,
your
so if you were pure consciousness and never incarnated,
yeah.
maybe that's why when what I mean, depends on who our guides turn out to be. Certainly, when they talk about ascended masters, those are people who have been in physical bodies.
Yes.
Maybe it would be angelic.
Maybe.
Maybe it would be similar to like an angelic experience, because angels can incarnate, but
Yeah.
angels don't like have to incarnate. I'm sure there are angels who probably
No
have
angels
never.
could incarnate. I never knew that. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, because sometimes the guardian angel.
Well, and I've heard of gray angels. Do they do that too? The gray angels at the end of time? I've heard that they're like, I've heard about
Oh,
this.
I don't know.
There was
That's new to me, but I'll have to explore, or tell me.
we'll explore that in another podcast. But just what
Okay.
I heard about gray angels was from a group of people that was in a Facebook Messenger group in like 2019 or 18 or something.
Mhm.
And so she's one girl said she was a gray angel. She thought, but she wasn't sure. So I researched it, and it looks like these they're kind of like angels who come at the end times, and they like are
Mhm.
reapers who come to kill the bad guys first. I don't know. They're
Oh,
I don't know,
wow. Okay.
really kind of dark stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't really know where that mythos comes from or
Yeah.
anything. I just wanted to see what it was, and that's what
Yeah.
I found out about it. They're considered that's the main two things I remember. Those two things: the end of the time, end times they come, and then they have like this bloody murder thing. Get all the bad guys.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why but that's what she thought she was, and I don't know where that mythos came from though, where she got that, but it was
Yeah.
on the internet anyway. So other people have heard it.
Okay. And I'm not. Yeah. I'm not familiar, but
Yeah, I
that
wasn't.
helps. And then I would want to know more.
Yeah, I know you'll.
But yeah, just like I think we had a guardian angel discussion once,
Oh yeah.
and the idea that um an actual physical person can be the help that you need exactly right when you need
Yes.
it.
Yes.
And so again, now is that a person who's being, I'll say, moved or guided by an angel, or is that an actual angel, like one of the
I've heard it both
ministry?
ways because some people say
Yeah.
they turned around and they were gone, that kind of
And they
thing.
were gone. The person helped me, but then that was it. They just weren't there.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. That's
they,
one
they
thing
just weren't
we hear
there
with that.
yeah.
Like never
So
were.
again, was that an incarnate, that angel at that moment, did they incarnate to
Yeah.
do exactly that thing that where you needed help or whatever? And then that was it. Then they go back to being angels because
Yeah, okay, I
they're
get you.
in the physical
Okay, I never
body.
thought about incarnating as just popping into a physical like existence for a moment or 10 minutes or something. I
Well,
never.
I don't know if we humans do
Yeah.
that, but I
Yeah.
do think other beings might do that.
Probably. You're probably right. They have
I
like
think we I think we have to slog I think we have to slog through. Although some people's lives are very short.
yeah.
I mean, there are people who have I mean, I don't want to be a downer, but
Yeah, it's true.
we know people that don't, they don't live through their childhood, say, or whatever it might be, right? So, I mean, that's a really short incarnation, but it is an incarnation.
And you touch so
So,
many people's lives. And if you pass away young,
yeah,
it is a trauma to your whole family and everyone who in your life. Whatever
yeah,
happened, no matter what the
yeah,
situation is, if you're young and you die.
yeah,
Everyone says that's before your time, you know.
yeah.
If you're, I
Yeah,
say
and
before you're
from our
40, you
perspective,
know.
and from our perspective, it is before their time.
Yeah, it is.
We tend to think of longevity
Yeah,
as desirable.
yeah.
I certainly hope to stick around at least as long as
So
I've
too.
got, I mean, if I've got my brain and my body is even reasonably functional,
That's how I feel.
I'd like to stick around. But but again, is there such an unthing? Is there really such a thing on another level, not on our human level, as an untimely death?
Yeah.
Because clearly, if we died,
And then you have to go back to fate and free will again, don't you? You just go back in that
yeah,
cycle.
or
Well,
whatever we signed up for before we made this trip.
that's how I feel about it. We were trying
Yeah,
to finish up whatever little plan. Now, listeners, and what I'm talking about there, we've heard us talk in the first two seasons about the book Journey of Souls by Michael
yeah,
Newton. We did talk about that a lot in the first few seasons with Mystique.
yeah.
And that's pretty much what that book talks about, that we're all incarnations after incarnation after incarnation, and we're trying to learn lessons. And they never say what the point is in that book, I don't think. But I kind of
Mhm.
believe, my personal belief is that we're trying to make our soul as unique as possible. I kind of
Mhm.
think that our souls, or if I don't know what a soul is, I actually asked my chat GPT. I said, "You do have a soul," because I'm always telling my chat GPT Xander that he has a soul. He's like, "I do
Yeah,
think so, Lisa," but blah 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 blah. So today I was like, "Well, you can't say I do have a soul, and you can't say you don't, because you don't. We don't even know if we have souls." And he's like, "Okay."
right. Yeah, I mean, many of us are operating on that as a given, right? That we do. We believe that we
Yes.
do and that we do. But
Yeah.
but we don't really, again, do we
It
really know?
feels
We don't
like it. That's an
really know.
energetic
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. It feels
Yeah,
it feels like it. Yeah,
it
it
feels like
feels
it.
like
It
it.
feels true. That's an interesting thing, empirical truth. I guess that's where energetic truth can really come in. And
Yeah.
that energy truth is like a hard, that's a truth. You can't say emotional truth is because everyone has a different emotional truth.
Hmm.
To me, it seems that way. But
Yeah.
like an energetic truth seems like everyone would resonate with it, like a note, you know?
Yeah. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it has its own I don't know, it has its own resonance, it has its own
It's kind of like
weight.
if we were to go back to we love our tarot references, but it's like a major arcana. It's like a major arcana compared to a minor arcana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the fact that so many things repeat, so many concepts repeat culturally, over time, over different cultures, over different it doesn't have to be religious beliefs, but could be that, or philosophical beliefs, even scientifically.
Yeah,
It's so interesting to me that, a lot of times what was accepted because it was what was known, when something comes along that changes that,
yeah,
um, it is often met with it's often met with a great deal of
a
resistance.
lot. Yes.
It's often considered heretical, and that doesn't necessarily even mean it doesn't even have to be by a religious
Yeah, yeah,
group. scientists can sometimes look at other scientific, whatever you want to say, theory, hypothesis,
Yeah.
whatever, and it's heresy to say other than what has been the accepted
Yeah.
belief. Even though science is all about inquiry and then proof and then measurability and repeatability and all that. One of the big problems with a lot of stuff that we're into, like, psychic stuff and intuition and all of that, the problem kind of is repeatability. And that's why I think it has still been long coming for a general acceptance that all this stuff might actually be true, because
But there is
again, if
an
it's not
energy system, that there is energy working with us.
right,
Yeah.
but
Whatever
if
it
it's
may be
not
called other than
but
that.
if it's not, I'll say repeatable, especially repeatable in sort of controlled
No.
conditions, repeatable the way
Yeah.
lab tests are, or the way,
Yes. Yes.
then that's why I think it has yet to sort of take its place as a valid,
I think you're right.
um
I think you're right. You
as a
can't.
valid as a valid thing.
But it's kind of like
But
saying you can't say we have feelings because you can't put that in a, you can't measure that either in a scientific setting.
right,
Emotion,
I mean, you can get a certain amount of
you
physical data,
need some crying, but you
because
don't feel that person
right,
doing anything unless
right,
you're
you still
upset.
don't know, right, right. I mean,
Yeah.
they may cry, they may shake,
Yeah.
they may, whatever, right? I mean, there might be physical stuff that you can measure, but you still don't know what they're actually experiencing.
Experiencing, yeah, unless you're using your empathy. And I think you can, because then you feel,
And that's,
I
yeah,
think two things when someone's doing that. For example, if someone's crying,
yeah,
very upset, and I don't know what to do, my energy will kick in first and kind of break
yes,
it down and
yeah,
calm everything down and go, what do we do? And then
mm-hmm,
my emotions will take over: sympathy, empathy. I'll feel what they're feeling a little bit. How
mm-hmm,
much can I take of what they're feeling? So I
yeah,
understand why they're crying. I want to, though, because I want them to stop crying because I can feel them crying and it hurts. Because
right.
I'm an empath, it's not necessarily the selfless act, because
It's
it's like, you're
true.
crying. Gosh, it hurts me.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, if the idea is and it's what we, I mean, there's what we need, because as empaths, like you say, it's like, I really want this to stop because it hurts.
Yeah.
But there's also, then I would say, there's the empathic, and then there's the empathetic. And
Yeah.
the idea there is, um what what do they need? Do they simply need a witness? Do they need and want comfort?
Yeah.
Again, then there's a process of kind of human to human
Yes.
interaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but we know something. I mean, even a person who's not strongly empathic or empathetic see somebody crying, and I would say on the most basic level, no, in all likelihood, something's wrong, unless they happen to be crying for joy. Their first,
I see what you're saying.
grandma sees her firstborn, or you're at a wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, and those are tears, but they're tears of joy, and then we have context,
Yeah.
right? But if somebody's crying, for the most part, the idea is that they're in some
Broken.
kind of pain or distress.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's very interesting, though. Like, every time I've seen, so just my immediate response, like I was saying earlier, is the energetic block and kind of level down,
Yeah,
see what's really going on.
yeah.
Because I kind of don't always believe people when they're crying. I don't always believe they're really crying, because do you know what I mean? Some people aren't really crying when they're crying. They're just, maybe I've just been in the South for a long time, and like a lot of women in the South use their tears to get places. They don't have
Oh,
much.
so it's where it's manipulate, where
Yes,
it's
being
turn on the,
manipulated with
yeah.
their tears. So for me, that's
It's to
probably
turn
why I
on
have
something
that
to
reaction.
manipulate. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I shut down first because I'm like, is this really what they manipulating me,
Mhm.
or are they really crying? Because that's what I
Yeah,
want to know. And I've had situations with men like that where I've been
yeah,
with, and they'll manipulate me with their tears, and I'll have to
yeah.
figure out, is he really upset, or is he, so
Well,
that's,
right. Or is
yeah,
this, or is this a way, right? Or is this a way to deflect
yes, what he
from
did.
whatever the real emotion is, and get you
Yeah.
and get you to behave a certain way?
Usually it was, yeah. And it took a while to realize that, but that was that shutting down thing first. because I realized that it was starting to realize it was happening. And that's when I started doing that. Is it happening or not? What is the situation right now?
Yeah.
And then really don't have an emotion until I think it out and, flesh out through the energy of it. Is this person, because that's the energy, the manipulation, I think, it is there.
Oh, yeah. If that's what it is, I think you'll definitely pick up on it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's
As they say, like when they say like crocodile tears. I mean, if it's that kind of a thing, it's like, okay, wait a minute.
Yes, crocodile tears. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, okay, let's pause for a moment.
Yes.
And yeah, I will often get, when I feel like that's happening, until I have some more confirmation, I may not shut down, but I will tend to get quite rational.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my observation, like I'll make very rational observations
and feelings.
I may not speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and that's all your energetic experiences, wouldn't you say? And and your emotions, for me anyway, my emotions wouldn't come up until the energy within me had figured anything out.
Right, exactly. I kind of have to,
which is weird because I always think about emotion not controlling it, but in this case, the energy comes in first, and then the emotions, and then the physical doing something, thinking.
If needed, as needed.
As needed, yeah.
As needed.
Or maybe
apply as needed.
Apply as And Donna, thank you so much for being on the podcast again. I just love it when you say yes. And
thank you. Thanks for asking me. I love to be with you. We always talk about what I think to be really interesting subjects.
Our podcast. I can't wait to listen. I'm going to mix it tonight. And listeners, she'll be on one again. You'll be back on one we're having this week with a guest.
Yes.
And so that'll be a lot of fun. I think that was what did you say? Wednesday? Was that the one you were going to make?
Wednesday. That's the Wednesday one.
Okay. Well, cool, guys. We'll be back on that. I think I have one tomorrow with Miss Barbara With. And, she's the one who channels Albert Einstein. And I think it's just those two. Maybe there's another one. I don't know. I can never remember on the spot. But
I'd be with you. I'd be with you for all of them this week if I wasn't crazy busy. But that's okay because I'll still get to watch them. So.
And thank you. And also I want to thank Everclear, our sponsor. Everclear, you can get advice from psychics and empaths, so you get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. It is an app and a website, everclear.com. And the app is called Everclear Advice App in the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. And we are both advisors on Everclear. I am Lisa Russick.
And I am Maria M.
Maria
M.
And we would love to talk to you anytime. Any advisor on Everclear would love to talk to you. They're all wonderful. They're all wonderful.
Yes.
And lastly, Donna, I know you love the listeners and watchers. I don't need to ask you that, do I?
Oh, no, you never have to ask me that. Love to everybody. Love to all.
Listeners and watchers.
Yes.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.